What's up, YouTube? It's WK Dad here. I want to talk to you guys about side decking. Last time I spoke to you guys, probably about a month ago, and just kind of introduced a brief introduction to, a complete guide to side decking. These won't necessarily be in order, but they'll just be various topics to help you get a better understanding of how to side, what cards you should be picking for your sideboard, what cards to look out from your opponent, how to tell what they're going to be siding in, that kind of thing. So today we're going to talk about generically solid sideboard cards and also sideboard cards that could possibly be deck or meta specific. So beginning with cards that are just generically solid, meaning just about any deck, any meta type deck, or any deck that can do what a meta deck does, have the possibility of siding. Thunder King Ryo, you know what it does. You can't search, makes Genex Undying dead, makes Pot of Dualities dead, Rhoda's dead, Stratos dead, Hanzo dead, stops inherent special summons, additional spell and trap removal, whether that be MSTs that you don't main, Dust Tornadoes, and maybe even Decree. Spirit Reaper and Snowman Eater. I like these in the sideboard because they stall out decks that just like to summon and attack, like Dino Rabbit, Heroes, Six Sams, Gadgets. Decks that like put a monster on the field then attack, put a monster on the field then attack. Those two cards are really good at stalling out opponents or decks who like to summon and attack. Next, Prohibition. I feel that Prohibition is more of a skilled card. Not so much it takes a bunch of skill to call a particular card that's going to screw you, but in that the skill comes in the timing in which you drop it. You don't want to drop it first turn because MST and Storm probably haven't been played yet. Obviously, it's first turn. But you want to play it when your opponent's down on resources and they have the choice. Okay, they drew the MST. Do they hit the Prohibition so they can finally make that play? Or do they hit the face down Warning or Torrential or Mirror Force or Bottomless, or Compulsory? That's when the timing comes down to Prohibition. And that's why I say it's more of a skilled card. Level Limit Area B, Messenger of Peace. You see wind up siding this card because most of their monsters are level 3, and the ones that aren't level 3, talking about Shark and Magician, they're generally going to be exceeded with right away, so they don't care if they get switched to defense. I recommend Messenger of Peace and Level Limit Area B for decks that need a turn or two to gather resources for a big push. If you're running a deck that doesn't generally OTK that often, or the aim of the deck isn't to just gather a bunch of cards then go off, then don't side those cards. That's what those cards are for. They're just to stall, gather pieces, and then go off. And then Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos. If you're running a deck, Dino Rabbit does it the best with Macrocosmos, but like Wind-Ups and Zectors, they don't necessarily need monsters in their graveyard. So when monsters are detached as a material, they go to the graveyard under Fissure. When Hornet is sent to the graveyard as an equipped card, it goes to the graveyard. But Fissure will hurt decks like Mermails, Psychics, Chaos Dragons, those kind of decks, even to some extent Agents. If you run a deck that doesn't necessarily need the graveyard, then you can look at Fissure and Macro for your sideboard. Just take time to practice on how to best utilize it such that it doesn't hurt you. Next up is Soul Taker. So many people like Smash Ground. They don't like giving their opponent that extra 1,000 life points. But the way I look at it is, okay, I'm going to give you 1,000 life points, but at least I get to take out that Thunder King, so I can play my Duality and not waste my Smashing Ground on that Zen mains, because you have a face-up Thunder King and a face-up Zenmaines. I mean, the Smashing Ground isn't going to hit the Thunder King in that situation. Not to mention, Soul Taker will make Serene Witch, Psychic Serene Witch, Pulsar, The Shining, and if I'm not mistaken, it'll make Abysslin, Mistiming, because I think it's a you can. When it's destroyed, you can. No, I think Abysslin is if you can. But if it's a monster that says when you can, when destroyed, you can, Soul Taker will make it Mistiming because it will destroy it. The monster goes to the graveyard, and then they'll gain 1,000 life, making them miss the timing. That's why people run the card. That's why it's so good. In addition to the fact that you can specifically target the monster you want to kill and not get screwed by a Chain Call Haunted or them having a Zenmaines plus another monster that you really want to get rid of, and all you have is a Smashing Ground. Some other notable cards that might be meta specific or deck specific: King Tiger Wangu, Fossil Dyna, Kaiku, Banisher. These guys are best used if you have sufficient spell and traps to back them up, because King Tiger will lock out a deck like Wind-Ups. It will severely slow down Six Sams. It will slow down Mermails. It will slow down Spellbooks. The card can be a beast with the right protection. Kaiku will destroy, well-timed Kaiku will destroy Inzectors, Dark Worlds, Chaos Dragon, Agents, and same can be said for Banisher. It just sucks that those guys have such low attack. Thunder King sets the benchmark at 1900. So, that's why those guys don't see play. But you should consider testing those guys out. If you run multiple copies of Mirror Force, Dimensional Prison, Bottomless, Solemn Warning, Compulsory, those kind of things, you can keep that thing on a board, keep those guys on a board for a turn or two. You should look into that. One of my favorite tech sideboard cards is Swift Scarecrow. You guys all know how I like Swift Scarecrow. Getting your opponent to overcommit, thinking that they have Gores locked out because they have Solemn Warning set, and then you drop the Scarecrow, followed by Dark Hole. That's that feel. That's the best feel. Needle Sealing, Goes and Match, Rivalry of Warlords. I kind of group them all together because they're designed to beat decks that commit multiple monsters to the field, and at the same time locking them out of plays. Deck Devastation Virus. Mermail. You'll see Mermail sign this because they can go Diva into Marksman, Synchro to a Catastor Librarian. Deck Devi's live. Chaos Dragons can drop a Dark Flare. Really easy. They play Charge Light Brigade, mill Light Dark, drop Dark Flare, set Deck Devi, and they're good to go. Dark Worlds can do it. Dark Worlds can do it. You also got Gravekeepers under Necro Valley. If you're running a level 4 spam deck like Heroes, Chaos Ninjas, you can go into Black Corn really easy. It's set Deck Devi. It'll destroy decks like Prophecy and Wind-Ups. It'll really hurt Six Sams. Decks that need their weaker but powerful low attack monsters to get their plays started. And I know that those decks also run monsters that aren't hit. But if you can knock out the Wind-Up Rats and the Kagamushas and those kind of cards, then that exponentially helps you win those matches. So it's pretty much all I have to say. Just want you to know that your side deck is going to be determined by the type of deck that you're running. If you're running a deck that doesn't run a bunch of back row to begin with, like Chaos Dragons or Chaos Agents, Frog Monarchs, you don't want to be sideboarding cards that kind of go against the grain. Those decks win primarily because all the threats are perceived in the hand. You don't want to start siding cards like Bottomless and Solemn Warning and Mirror Force because the whole reason those decks are feared is because your opponent never knows what's going to drop out of your hand next. And if you're running a control deck, you don't want to start sideboarding cards like Gorz and Trag, because ideally your control and your OTK stopping power comes from your back row. Down below, comment about what you'd like to see next. I want to talk about what to side and side out, going first and second, sideboard cards, or how to predict what your opponent might be siding in against you, and those kind of things. All right, this is Dub K Dad, and I'm out.